Hey guys, it's Tommy with Studio Sense. I'm happy to have you here today. Today we're going to do a first impressions of an interesting fragrance that I haven't run across before. It's been around for a while, 10 plus years. It is called Vera Wang for Men. This particular fragrance has a few interesting things about it that we're going to take a look at. Some a little bit funny, some a little bit unique. So let's go ahead and get right into it. Today we're going to be talking about Vera Wang for Men. She opted to just be the titular portion of the fragrance instead of having it a name, Vera Wang for Men. What's interesting about this fragrance is because it's such an exciting thing to meet someone new and to date someone and get to know someone, that's usually the portion of the relationship that most ad campaigns feature. Like for example, the man and woman on the beach for Euphoria Intense for Men for Calvin Klein, that's unforgettable. Red Desire, Alfred Dunhill, man, I think it just shows a woman rolling around in bed with very seductive posturing. So those are usually the things that are very enticing, and sex sells very simply. Did Vera Wang opt to go for that portion of the relationship in her campaign? Take a look at this. It's a little interesting, actually. So Vera Wang for Men is slated for men that are on the cusp of getting married. And maybe that's why it didn't do really that great in terms of sales. No, this is what I would call it's an underdog. The rating at Fragrantica, I think, is 4.13 something. It's over 4 points, which is really good in terms of that point system. It's pretty popular in terms of being well liked and well received. But I think that ad campaign leaves a little to be desired. I mean, there's nothing wrong with getting married. Don't get me wrong. I'm married. I love the institution of marriage. I think it's great for a lot of people. But in terms of hey, check out this fragrance, it'll make you want to get married, everybody's going to be running to the store to grab a bottle. I don't know. It just seems funny to me. Maybe it's just funny to me, and it's fantastic for everyone else. But I thought that was kind of a quirky, odd slant to come at people with at the whole marriage thing. So you're trying to appeal to a particular target audience of men to run out and buy this, and you're telling them, hey, you'll want to get married when you purchase this. I thought that was interesting. Wonder what led her, or whoever her marketing campaign director is, to that conclusion that would be a great idea. I think it's a little bit less than stellar, but it is interesting. Now, similar to the Hugo Boss bottled the scent Private Accord, the scent Absolute, where they featured one particular fruit, which was interesting, hadn't previously been featured before, and that was Manenka fruit. This particular fragrance features something called yuzu fruit. Yuzu is a kind of a combination in terms of the way that it smells between grapefruit and orange. Although it is less pungent, it is a little tart, but also a little sweet, a little bit sweeter. So it's very aromatic, it is very pleasurable, and this features that. I think that's what sets this apart, is the yuzu fruit. I'll put a little bit of graphic up here somewhere so you can kind of see what yuzu fruit looks like. It's grown in Japan, of course, thus the name yuzu. We're going to bust out the box, take a quick look at the presentation, and then see what it smells like on skin. In first impressions, I no longer use tester strips because I just don't trust them. Skin always seems to be better for me, so that's what we're going to do today with this. So without further ado, let's get into it. This is my favorite part of any first impressions, is busting into the box and just ripping it off. I always say it's like Christmas morning. Well, this one was quite easy. Just twist and pull. The box itself has a little bit of a tactile feel. So here's the front of the box, okay? There's nothing on the top, there's nothing on the sides. It does look like that batch code is 9025. So if somebody wants to look up batch codes, 9025. So check that out. On the very back, of course, you've got the ingredients listing and Vera Wang for Men. So that is all that's on the box. I do like the shape of the bottle. It's very classic and classy. The juice is a kind of smoky color. I don't know, you might say yellow, but it's a nice smoky color. The bottle itself is probably one of my favorite shapes of bottles, meaning that it fits your hand. It's a slightly curved, it fits perfectly in your hand, and all it has on it is the title Vera Wang for Men, just like the box. Okay, it's really neat. There's nothing on the actual lid itself. The lid is kind of a opaque, I don't know, it may be plastic, it may be wood, but it looks like it's wood. Let me see how that comes off there. So it is on really well. You can hold the bottle up by the lid. Not that that's a feature of any fragrance, but I just like that. There's the title. On the very bottom you have your batch code, sticker, and information. I'm going to show you that there if you can see it. It's a little bit hard to see because it is see-through. Well, there you have it. There's the presentation. So let's go ahead and without further ado spray some on skin and pull my sleeve back a little bit. I'm going to get some on both sides here. I'm going to make sure I am not wearing anything currently so that it doesn't conflict, the smell doesn't conflict with my nose. So let's give it a couple. Usually after 2 sprays, the pump is primed and it will spray. Let's see. Yep, so on that 3rd there. Let's give it a 4th. I don't know if you could see that or not. That went over here on my laptop. Nice. All right. Okay. Interesting. I just totally wiped that on my nose. Okay. Well, I gotta say, I'm not too impressed with the top. So right out of the bottle, I expected to catch a little bit more of the tobacco, a little bit more of the sandalwood, and a little bit of the sweetness. So this is gonna be, it seems like it's a really light fragrance. I expected a little bit darker. Anytime I see tobacco is a note in a fragrance, I get kind of excited because I love tobacco-based fragrances. I wouldn't call this a tobacco-based fragrance. From what I'm spelling here, it's going to err on the side of sandalwood, okay, because that's also in the base. In the top, you've got mandarin leaf and yuzu. So I do get a little bit of that orange vibe, but it's almost like the mixture of grapefruit and orange kind of cancel each other out. It's a very light scent. So the yuzu is very light. It does give a little bit of sweetness there. I can sense a little bit of that sweetness. In the mid, you've got nutmeg, you've got leather, and anise. Not star anise, but just regular anise, which I like in any fragrance. Now, the fact that it's drying down a little bit, I'm getting a little bit more sense of what this is, and it is becoming a little bit more pleasant. This is growing on you. This is growing on me a little bit. So it's not something that you smell that has a great top on it. So the top, I believe, actually creates an introduction between the mid and the base that opens up its complexity as time goes on. So this one you have to wait. You definitely have to wait on for it to open up a little bit. Now, as it's drying down a little bit more, I'm going to kind of pause the video a little bit and give it some more time because I definitely want to give this the proper introduction, that it deserves. As I mentioned, this is sitting on a base of sandalwood and tobacco, and it is a lot lighter tobacco than what I would preferred. I would have preferred the concentration of tobacco to be a little bit denser in this. There's not a lot of tobacco that you're getting in this. I find it interesting that it would be rated so well, and yet it's like 17 bucks, right? I mean, I'm going to show you the listing that I found in perfume.com here, and as you can see, it's like 16 and change. Whatever that is, I'm just doing it by memory. But whenever I see a price like that, I don't think, oh, this is going to be fantastic. I get a little bit concerned because normally if a fragrance is extremely well received by the community, and when I say community, by everyone who purchases it as in mass, then the price goes up a little bit because the value is determined by the people, right? The value is determined by the market, by how well it is received. So this does get good reviews apparently, but it's just still continuing to be a lot lower on the register in terms of price. And there's a reason for that, because the more I let this linger, the more I let this dry down, the more it's becoming a sandalwood fragrance. So I do love sandalwood. I really enjoy sandalwood. I have nothing against it. It's one of my favorite woods actually. But as sandalwood, there are a couple of types of sandalwoods that really come to the foreground, And then there's that background sandalwood that's just kind of a nice resting base of a lighter fragrance. And that's the kind of sandalwood that is in this. It is very light. This fragrance is very light. It is a very wistful and wishful thinking kind of, like it wants to be stronger than what it actually is. So this would be great in fall, winter, and fall going into spring. So fall going into spring. So this is the perfect time actually to wear this fragrance that we're in now, because we're in the last stages of winter. We're going to be going into spring very soon. You can still continue to wear this because the tobacco isn't heavy. That is one thing that's working in its favor. It is a lot more versatile. So you'll actually be able to wear this into the spring, into summer. Yeah, much more sandalwood. So a little bit more of the anise, a little bit more of the sandalwood, some nutmeg, but pretty much all the other notes have receded into the background, including the yuzu. So that non-pungent, semi-sweet portion of the yuzu is still a little bit there, but is riding on top of the primary note of sandalwood and nutmeg. So I do enjoy that. I think it's a great fragrance. I think it's a good, I won't say great. Let me retract that. Redact that, great. Okay, I think it is a good fragrance. And I think it does have its place, and especially in the upcoming months, winter turns into spring and summer. It's going to be something you want to keep on the sidelines to offer into your rotation, just to mix it up a little bit, but not because it is a heavy hitter. It is not a heavy hitter. It is not a banger. I can tell you that up front. It is just a nice, good fragrance to mix it up in your rotation a little bit. It is a nice, semi-sweet sandalwood fragrance. And that's all I'm going to say about it, because I want to reserve judgment for a future, more in-depth review. So that's it, guys, for my first impressions for Vera Wang for Men. An interesting wedding fragrance. I certainly, when I smell this, the first thing that popped in my mind was going out and getting married. It's crazy how she did it. She infused wanting to get married in a bottle right here, which is why it's so cheap and why it's not selling that great. No, I'm just kidding. It is a really nice, semi-sweet sandalwood fragrance to have in your rotation to mix it up a little bit. I really do like the presentation, and I want to like the fragrance more than I actually do like it. I really want to like it. It is a very aesthetically pleasing. I really like the shape of the bottle. I like the mixture of the wood and the chrome, silver, and then that glass. It looks so nice. And just the little minimalistic Vera Wang for Men. It is really cool. The bottle itself is better than the fragrance itself, I would have to say, in this case. But it is enjoyable, and it has its place, just like I think all fragrances do, that at least try to put a good sense of what it is in your nose. And this has a good sense of itself. It's just a little bit on the lighter side. And if you've watched any of my videos, you know that I cant on the side a little bit darker, a little bit deeper, and a little bit more complex, at least in the wintertime. That changes up when I go towards the freshy side in the spring and the summer, which we're going to be talking about very soon. So that's it for my first impressions of Vera Wang for Men. Thank you for stopping by and watching. As always, I really appreciate your support. Thanks for being here. I'm Tommy with Studio Sense, and I'll see you next time.